You can say one thing and have it interpreted 100 different ways, but how often do you converse with people who only ever hear one story? No matter what is said or how it's said, they always feel like you are their antagonist. The inability to reason is quiet and quite terrifying because it throws everyone around them into a hole with no hope of retrieval while they are the ones holding the rope. This is actually far more common than people realize, yet it receives so little recognition because one of the most common fears in human nature is the belief that everyone is in opposition to you. It's taught by parents, taught through experience, alluded to in schools, and rarely scrutinized the way it should be. That's where it begins. It's poison, and the longer it stays, the louder it becomes. These individuals often twist criticism into an attack, believe everyone is in the wrong, create their own problems, and in their eyes, they couldn't be further from the issue themselves. Sooner or later, you realize nothing you say will ever satisfy them, and nothing you do will ever truly be recognized. Have you been there? I sure have, and it doesn't feel great. It feels like walking on eggshells. Every conversation becomes a minefield. No resolution can ever be made, and somehow you are even gaslit into believing you simply do not care enough. Eventually, you stop trying to explain yourself because you realize understanding was never the goal. I mean, what's the point when even acceptance becomes a problem? But understand this, they're not evil, they're not stupid, they're just hurt. People who constantly believe others are against them are often protecting a fragile self-image. In relationships, friendships, and families, it becomes almost impossible to build a genuine connection with someone like this because eventually you will be pushed away. In the workplace and professional settings, it is even more damaging. People find it difficult to remain around them, so opportunities become fleeting no matter how qualified they may be. Even working in groups becomes difficult because if things do not go their way, they begin to feel as though their opinions are not valued enough, and that feeling is dangerous. It causes them to spiral when in reality the group just simply chose a different direction. With that being said, the person most damaged by this behavior is often themselves. Negative bias combined with constant self-inflicted loneliness is a brutal combination. They believe everything is wrong with them while simultaneously believing they are never wrong because they focus on what happened to them far longer than what they may have done to cause it. You often hear questions like, "Do you think I'm selfish?" or "Do you think I'm a bad person?" And at first, it sounds reflective, maybe even innocent, but usually it isn't. Everyone wants comfort and reassurance, but if you answer with anything other than no, be prepared for what comes next. People like this isolate themselves over time because conflict follows them everywhere they go. They crave reassurance but reject honesty. When everyone becomes their enemy, it is taken as proof instead of consequence. They cannot reason because emotionally they have already decided the threat exists. Logic becomes secondary to emotional survival. Disagreement feels like rejection, and criticism feels like humiliation. Some people spend their entire lives fighting enemies that were never truly there, and in the process, they push away the people who cared for them the most, mistaking the consequences of their actions as proof that the world really was against them all along. So why do they do this? It's fear. Fear of rejection, humiliation, being wrong, and being vulnerable. But most of all, not being in control. With life, there's never absolute certainty, and that wounds them deeply because they believe without exact outcomes, they are a failure. In a way, I'm also guilty of this. Nothing is more terrifying than the invisible path ahead of me. And in my experience, it's easy to fall into believing everything has to be scripted, everything has to be within strict parameters. But by limiting my view, I often neglect to see what could happen, whether good or bad. They may have been assured for such a long time that what dictates their lives is what people may do to hurt them rather than what they may do to hurt themselves. A cage can be disguised as protection in a way. Being hyper defensive gives a nice illusion of control, but this all destroys true connection. For some, it's even worse. It can be deeply ingrained in insecurity, family conditioned, trauma induced, and it can be learned behavior. Being raised with hostility causes defensiveness. Being humiliated creates hypersensitivity, and that horrible feeling of betrayal breeds suspicion. Conditioned into believing the worst in every person eats away at what makes people calm and caring. One day I hope things change for them because this can be a sign of real pain. Pain that cannot be dealt with without reflection. If you are around this person, you have to set boundaries. You cannot absorb projection because it will eat away at who you are and make you feel self-conscious. You need to understand when the conversation flips from understanding to their survival. But stay kind. The moment you lose your kindness is when you are closer to them than you realize, and you may even be worse. If you are this person, your life may have been difficult, but learn to pause before reaction so you can get a better grip on every situation, because that is real control, self-control. Separate criticism from attacks, and if you feel antagonized yourself, stay calm. Don't let it consume your words and actions, because that's where you fall too. You hold the rope. Let your loved ones pull you up, but do not push them down. Hey, I'm Choice. Thank you for watching till the end, and please subscribe. This video took an abnormal amount of time to create. I hope you enjoyed and have a nice day.